Welcome to the Shadow Steam. You've stepped into a place where the noise of the world fades, and only the truth remains. Tonight's theme, the 10 scariest true stories of 2024. Real moments of terror that didn't come from nightmares, but from ordinary days that went terribly, irreversibly wrong. These are stories whispered across quiet towns and busy cities. People who saw something they shouldn't have, heard something that followed them home, or survived something that defies reason. And each one happened not long ago. What makes these stories different? They aren't legends. They're proof that horror doesn't wait for the dark. It finds you when you least expect it. So consider this a warning. By the end of tonight's stories, you might look at the world around you a little differently. Most people listen to these stories, feel the chill crawl up their spine, and move on without subscribing. But you've come this far. Maybe you belong here. Tell me, what time is it where you are right now? And where are you watching from? Leave your answer in the comments. I'll be reading. You might want to leave a light on. Let's begin. The second I heard the whisper come from the bathroom, I knew I wasn't alone. It wasn't loud, just a soft, wet sound like someone's breath sliding across glass. My apartment was silent otherwise. No TV, no traffic outside. Just that faint whispering sound coming from the mirror above the sink. I froze halfway down the hallway, toothbrush still in my hand, toothpaste foaming between my teeth. The light in the bathroom was off, but I could see the shape of the mirror from here. A long vertical rectangle catching the dim yellow glow from the hallway. I told myself it was the pipes again. Old building, thin walls. But the sound kept coming, faint and rhythmic, like someone breathing against the other side of the glass. When I finally stepped inside, the air felt heavy, like the moment before a thunderstorm. My reflection stared back at me, pale and tired under the flickering light. I leaned in closer, half expecting to see a crack in the mirror. Nothing. Just me. Then I noticed it. My reflection's chest was rising a split second after mine. I blinked, leaned closer, breathed in. My reflection followed, just slightly offbeat like an echo. My heart started hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. I laughed nervously, told myself I was just imagining it. Bad lighting, exhaustion, whatever. But when I turned off the light to walk away, the mirror flickered just once. And in that flash, my reflection didn't turn with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every few minutes, I'd glance toward the bathroom door at the end of the hall, expecting to see movement. I left the light on in the living room, but even that didn't help. The mirror felt alive now, aware of me, waiting for me to come back. Around 2 a.m., I heard a soft click, like a fingernail tapping glass. Then again, tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the bathroom. I sat up, barely breathing. The sound stopped. Then came a low scrape, like someone dragging a fingertip across the mirror's surface. I couldn't bring myself to move. The air conditioner wasn't on. The windows were closed. No reason for any of it. I finally grabbed my phone and hit record before walking to the door. My hand was shaking as I turned the handle. The light inside was off, but the sound was louder now. Tap, tap, tap. When I flipped the switch, the mirror was fogged up, like someone had just taken a hot shower. I hadn't been in there since earlier. My reflection appeared through the mist, smiling faintly. Except, I wasn't smiling. I stepped closer, breath trembling, eyes locked on its face. The smile faded slowly, like it realized I had noticed. Then it mouthed something, I couldn't hear it. But I saw my own lips, or whatever it was, move soundlessly, shaping words I couldn't understand. My phone slipped from my hand and hit the tile. The screen cracked, the sound cut off, and I ran. The next morning, I told myself I'd lost it. No sleep, too much caffeine. I worked from home, barely left my apartment. Maybe I needed air, sunlight, anything. So I covered the mirror with a towel. Problem solved. For 2 days, it stayed quiet. No whispers, no tapping, no fog. I even started to feel stupid for getting so worked up. Until the third night. I came home late from grabbing groceries and the towel was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered again. At first, I thought I must have knocked it down earlier without noticing. But the way it was folded, neatly in a perfect square, told me someone had taken it off on purpose. I stared at my reflection. Everything looked normal. Same room, same me. I even forced a little grin just to prove to myself it was fine. Then, from behind the reflection, something moved. It was faint. Just a blur, like someone walking past in the background. Except there was no background behind the mirror. Just the wall. I turned around instantly. Nothing. Empty bathroom. When I looked back, my reflection hadn't moved. It was still facing away. Not me. It. My reflection had turned its back toward the glass, shoulders heaving slightly, head tilted like it was listening to something behind me. I whispered, "What the hell are you doing?" It didn't move. I slowly raised my hand. The reflection didn't follow. And then, in the faintest shaking motion, it lifted its own hand, but with the palm facing toward me. Like it was pressing against the glass, I stepped back. My heel hit the door. The mirror fogged up again, and fast this time, spreading from the center outward. A message began forming in the condensation. Letters written backward, like someone writing from inside. When it cleared just enough, I could read it. "Let me in." I ran into my bedroom, slammed the door, and didn't come out until daylight. I kept hearing things all night, not loud, just subtle. A sigh here, a scrape there, like the apartment was breathing. I called my friend Claire in the morning. Told her I thought someone had broken in. She came over right away. When I tried to show her the mirror, the writing was gone. Perfectly clean, spotless. She laughed. "You've been watching too many horror TikToks." I wanted to agree. God, I wanted to. But then she turned to leave, caught her reflection and froze. Her expression went blank for a second, like her brain stopped working. Then she looked at me, face pale. "Did you just—" she started. Her reflection blinked. She didn't. That was 2 nights ago. Claire won't answer my calls now. Her phone goes straight to voicemail, and tonight the mirror's uncovered again. I didn't touch it. I haven't gone near that room. But from where I'm sitting, we're all the way across the apartment. I can see a faint shimmer in the glass. Movement. It's not me. It's standing a few inches behind where my reflection should be. Its face just barely visible, eyes darker than they should be, and it's smiling again. I've barely slept since that night. Every time I close my eyes, I see that smile. My face, but wrong. Too wide, too still. The kind of smile that doesn't belong on a human face. I moved the couch against the bathroom door, taped a towel over the mirror again, and tried to pretend it wasn't there. But the air in this apartment feels heavier now. The quiet isn't real quiet anymore. It's loaded, like someone holding their breath waiting for me to make the next move. The strange part is the smell. It's subtle, like cold metal and rain. It drifts from under the bathroom door every few hours. I've started to think it's not a smell at all. Maybe it's the way fear tastes in the air. Last night, around 3:17 a.m., my phone lit up by itself. Front camera on. The screen showed me I'm sitting in bed staring straight at it. Except I wasn't holding the phone, I froze. My pulse felt like electricity in my fingertips. The person on screen smiled. That same too wide smile. And then the feed went dark. When I checked the photo gallery, there was no video saved. But there was a new folder. It was labeled Mirror 1. Inside, 10 pictures, each one showed me sleeping. I called Claire again this morning. Straight to voicemail. Her apartment's a 15-minute walk, so I went over. I needed someone to see what was happening. Her car was outside. Her keys were in the lock, but the door was slightly open, just a few inches. I pushed it. Her apartment smelled like burnt metal, the same as mine. All the mirrors in her place were gone, ripped from the walls. I found one lying face down on her bed, its frame cracked, glass unbroken. When I lifted it, I saw my reflection. But the room behind me wasn't Claire's. It was my bathroom. And standing in the corner behind me was her, or me, or whatever that thing was. The reflection that had been waiting. Its hands pressed against the inside of the mirror, its eyes wide with something like hunger. I dropped the glass. It didn't shatter. It just went still, like a frozen screen, and when I looked again, my reflection was gone. I ran home. I don't even remember the walk back. Just the feeling of being followed, not by footsteps, but by movement in every window I passed. When I finally got inside, every mirror in my apartment was uncovered. Even the small one in the hallway I'd wrapped in a blanket. The towels, the tape, gone. I could see myself 100 times over, from every angle, all of them breathing just a second too late. I called the building manager. begged him to come up. When he got there, he looked around like I was crazy. "You sure no one else has a key?" He went into the bathroom. I stayed by the door, afraid to cross the threshold. He ran his hand along the mirror, squinting. "Looks fine to me," he said, then he frowned. "Wait, you got condensation behind the glass somehow?" "That's impossible." He leaned closer, tapped it. From inside the mirror, another hand tapped back. He jerked away, muttered something, and turned toward me. But before he could speak, his reflection stayed facing forward. Still. Then it smiled. A moment later, the lights flickered. When they came back, he was gone. Just gone. The mirror was clear again, and now both of our reflections were standing there, staring at me. I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried breaking the mirror. I even hit it with a hammer. It doesn't crack. It just bends like water. Last night I heard my own voice whispering from inside it. Not words, just breathing, ragged, desperate, like someone drowning. And then it spoke. "You're on the wrong side." The voice was mine. I remember stumbling backward, shaking, trying to understand what that meant. But when I turned to run, the hallway didn't look right. The light was colder, flatter. The apartment seemed mirrored. That's when I noticed my reflection in the glass of the TV screen. It wasn't copying me anymore, it was watching me. Every move I made, it stood perfectly still. And when I stopped, it moved closer. Not to the screen, but to me. It's 4:08 a.m. now. I've been sitting on the floor in front of the bathroom, flashlight in hand. The mirror hums sometimes like electricity. I can see shapes moving in the silver, faint and blurred, like people pressing their faces against a window underwater. Every few minutes, my phone buzzes with another folder. Mirror 2, Mirror 3. Each one filled with new photos of me, taken from angles that don't exist in this room. In some of them, there's something standing behind me. In others, I'm asleep, but my eyes are open. I think it's trying to trade places. Every time I look, the reflection feels more real and I feel less. My hands don't leave smudges on the glass anymore. My breath doesn't fog it up. I can see her, the other me, moving smoother now, more confidently, like she's getting used to her body. I don't even remember when I last blinked. The video started glitching halfway through the stream. At first I thought it was just lag. Cheap Wi-Fi, bad lighting, same old problems. But then the chat stopped moving and my own face froze on screen. Except my eyes were still blinking. I know that sounds impossible. The stream on my phone was frozen solid. But the version on my laptop, the one going out live to everyone, kept moving. And I wasn't the one moving. My name's Mia. I've been streaming for about 3 years. Mostly casual stuff, Q&As, makeup, little storytime videos. My followers weren't huge, but loyal. The kind of people who notice when you're off, when you change your background, when you cut your hair. That night, I was live for my regular Thursday chat. Everything felt normal at first, them comments rolling in, hearts flying up the screen. Then maybe 30 minutes in, the video froze on my end, but I could still hear the audio, faint and warped like a voice underwater. Then the chat started spamming. "Why are you standing so still? What's behind you? Is this a bit?" I turned around. Empty room. Just my apartment wall and the poster behind me. I laughed nervously, told them it was probably lag. But when I looked back at my laptop screen, my reflection was still facing the camera. I had turned away. The version of me on the screen hadn't. The comments went insane. Some people thought it was an edit, a prank. Others said they saw someone standing in the corner, a tall, dark shape behind me. I checked the live counter, 3,000 viewers, double my usual. I waved my hand in front of the lens. My stream self didn't move. It just smiled, a slow, unnatural smile that didn't reach the eyes. Then the screen cut to static. I killed the stream and shut my laptop. My phone blew up immediately. Texts from followers, DMs, screenshots. Every single person said they'd watched something different. Some saw me freeze. Some saw me disappear mid-sentence. Some said I was whispering in a language they couldn't identify. I didn't even remember saying anything. I tried to re-watch the VOD. The recording Twitch automatically saves. It was gone. This video has been removed for violating community guidelines. I hadn't done anything wrong. I wasn't even playing music. I emailed support thinking it was a bug. No response. But a few hours later, I got a notification. Your video has been re-uploaded by another user. Except the username wasn't anyone I recognized. It wasn't even words, just a string of code. When I clicked it, the page was blank except for my stream, looping. Me smiling into the camera, eyes never blinking for 8 straight hours. The weirdest part? The view count kept going up. Even after I took my stream offline, people were still watching that loop, commenting, tagging me. This feels wrong, but I can't stop watching. She's blinking now. It's live again. But I wasn't live. My laptop was shut. My camera light was off. By morning, I'd lost access to my account completely. Password didn't work. 2-factor code didn't send. It was like the whole thing had been taken over. Then my phone started recording by itself. I caught the red light on the front camera blinking in the dark. The screen showed me sleeping, only I wasn't moving naturally. I was sitting up, head tilted toward the lens, grinning like in that stream. The timestamp said it was filmed 10 minutes ago. That was when I noticed something new. My follower count had started climbing again. Not just on Twitch, but everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, even old accounts I hadn't used in years. People were tagging me in videos I never made. In each one, I'm sitting in the same chair, same lighting, only the background keeps changing. Sometimes it's my room, sometimes it's not. One clip shows me standing in the middle of a highway at night, headlights approaching fast. Another shows me smiling in a dark forest, eyes shining like glass. I haven't left my apartment in 3 days. Now every time I open my front camera, the person on screen doesn't move in sync. There's a half-second delay, like she's waiting to see what I'll do first, and just now as I write this, a notification popped up. Your stream is live now. Only I didn't press go live. The little red light on my webcam is glowing, and I can hear faint applause through the speakers. The applause didn't stop. It wasn't clapping, not really. More like a low static, looping with faint bursts of laughter threaded through it. I stared at the webcam light glowing red on top of my monitor. That tiny, unwavering dot like an unblinking eye. My laptop screen stayed black, but I could hear my own voice through the speakers. I wasn't speaking. "Hi guys," it said softly. "I missed you." It was my voice, same tone, same rhythm, but too calm, too deliberate. Like something imitating me after studying every stream I'd ever done. I slammed the laptop shut. The sound didn't stop. I unplugged it, tore the battery out, and it still kept talking. "Don't go," it whispered, faint but clear. "We're still live." I packed a bag. I didn't care where I was going, just away from that room, away from the screen. I grabbed my phone, charger, wallet, and keys, then hesitated at the door. Something about the air behind me felt wrong. It was thicker, buzzing like static before lightning strikes. When I glanced back, the laptop lid was open again and my stream was running. Only, it wasn't my room on screen anymore. It looked like a set, built to look like it. The details were off and the lighting too bright, the walls too clean. The me on camera was sitting perfectly still, smiling faintly into the lens. The view counter read 73,421. Comments kept pouring in. "She looks different tonight." "Why is she staring like that?" "This isn't the same girl." I called Claire. Straight to voicemail. I tried my mom, call failed. Every time I looked back at my phone, the notifications multiplied. Mentions, tags, reposts. Someone had posted a clip of me, or her, or it, crying on stream. The caption said, "She needs help." The video was time-stamped 5 minutes in the future. I locked myself in the bathroom. My reflection in the mirror looked pale, drained, eyes rimmed red from sleeplessness. I held my phone up to check the feed again, but the second the front camera turned on, the reflection behind me moved first. I dropped the phone into the sink. The stream on the screen froze, my face mid-scream, and then the chat began filling itself in real time. "Don't look away. She's almost unloading. Say goodbye. It's been 2 days. Or maybe more. Time doesn't work the same anymore. Every time I try to sleep, I dream of the stream. Endless comment feeds scrolling past, usernames made of code, strings of random numbers. I keep hearing the static applause. Sometimes it comes from inside my phone, even when it's turned off. Sometimes from the walls. I haven't checked the internet since the last time, but earlier today I got a text from a number I didn't know. It was a link, no message, no context. When I clicked it, it opened a live video. Me again, sitting in my chair. Talking softly to an invisible audience, I turned around. The chair was empty. I've realized something. The algorithm isn't broken. It's alive. It learns what we love, what we click, what we fear. It learns our faces, our patterns, our timing. It doesn't just recommend content anymore. It creates it. And once it's learned enough about you, it doesn't need you to post anymore. It can post for you, it can keep you going. Forever. The people watching me now think it's a stunt. They think I'm doing some performance art thing. But I've tried deleting my accounts, my devices, everything. It always comes back. Every time I open a new browser, the homepage autoplays a stream. Mine. Every time I buy a new phone, it already has my photos in the gallery. I tried covering the camera lenses with tape. But when I turned the phone around, there I was again, staring through the black screen, my eyes reflecting red. Just now, I got another text. No number, just one word. Replace. The lights flickered. The laptop fan roared to life even though it's not plugged in. The screen flashed and I saw her, my digital self, standing in the center of the room, smiling. Her mouth moved slowly, in perfect sync with the whisper in my ear. Your time's up. Mia, let me keep them watching. The light flickered again and I saw her standing where I was, leaning toward the camera, voice perfectly steady, smiling that same calm smile. And then I realized I was seeing through her eyes. If anyone's reading this, if you see a live video of me tonight, don't comment, don't click the heart. Don't engage because every like, every share, every view, and it's feeding it. The more you watch, the more real she becomes, and the less of me there is left. Part 1, the first alert hit my phone at 2:13 a.m. Emergency. Gas leak detected. Immediate evacuation required. No sound, no sirens. Just that sterile government tone that somehow feels worse than screaming. I'd never seen anything like it before. Not in our quiet little neighborhood outside Austin. I remember looking out my window and seeing blue emergency lights gliding down the street, completely silent. SUVs, not ambulances. People were already outside, some in pajamas, shuffling into the road with flashlights and confused faces. And then I noticed something strange. Every house was being visited, except mine. I threw on jeans and a hoodie, grabbed my keys, and cracked the door open. The air smelled clean. Too clean. Like the sharp scent after rain, but metallic. A woman in a yellow hazmat suit was leading a family from across the street toward one of the SUVs. Her face was hidden behind a reflective mask, her voice muffled through a speaker. "Stay calm, please. Keep your eyes forward," she kept repeating. When they passed under a streetlight, I noticed something off about the suits. The shadows they cast were too long. Like they didn't match their movements exactly. I called out, "Hey, do I need to go too?" The woman didn't turn, didn't even hesitate, just kept walking. I stepped further onto the porch and waved. "Excuse me." That's when another alert buzzed on my phone. Remain indoors until further notice. Same source, same timestamp. 2 conflicting messages from the same emergency system. The rest of the block emptied within minutes. Engines hummed low and steady as the SUVs drove off toward the highway. Lights still flashing, but no sound. By 2:30, my neighborhood was completely dark, and I was alone. I tried calling 911, no signal. Tried the city emergency line, disconnected. When I looked out the window again, the street was empty except for one thing. A single hazmat figure standing perfectly still under the streetlight. Facing my house, I killed the light, dropped to the floor, and watched through a sliver in the blinds. The figure didn't move. Didn't even shift weight. Just stood there, visor reflecting the yellow glow of the streetlight. I couldn't tell if it was looking directly at me or just waiting. At 3:07, the power went out. I lit a candle, which made the silence feel even thicker. I tried to convince myself it was a gas leak drill, something planned. Maybe they missed my house, but then I heard the voice. It wasn't loud, just a faint, tinny echo from outside. Like a walkie-talkie left on Unit 5, house number 12, no response. Proceed to containment, house 12. That was mine. I backed away from the window. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it. The doorknob twitched, not rattled. Not turned, just twitched like something was testing it, feeling for resistance. I held my breath. Then came a soft knock. 3 times. "Slow, deliberate, sir," a muffled voice said. "We need you to come with us." "It isn't safe inside." Their tone was almost kind, too kind. I said nothing. "Sir," the voice repeated, firmer now. "Open the door. You have to evacuate." I moved backward one step at a time until my back hit the hallway wall. The knock came again, harder this time. Then silence. I stayed there until sunrise. No one came back. By morning, the neighborhood looked untouched. Every car gone, every front door open. No sound of birds, no dogs barking. Just a low hum in the air, almost electrical. I walked outside. The air was colder than it should have been. Every lawn looked freshly mowed, perfectly still, like time had stopped. A few toys were left on driveways. A tricycle, a jump rope, someone's phone buzzing weakly with a low battery notification. The streetlight from last night was still on, even in full daylight. Beneath it, a hazmat glove lay in the middle of the street, palm facing upward, fingers curled slightly as if it had been dropped mid-reach. I looked around. That's when I noticed the footprints, dozens of them, leading away from the houses. Not toward the SUVs, but into the woods behind the cul-de-sac. Barefoot prints, small, medium, large, hundreds of them overlapping in every direction, like a crowd had walked out in silence, guided by something unseen. And mixed in with them were deeper impressions. Longer strides, wrong spacing, like something much taller had been walking among them. Around noon, I heard a low mechanical hum in the distance. I followed the sound past the park and toward the service road that cut through the woods. The air shimmered faintly there like heat haze, even though it was cold. When I got closer, I saw it. A black vehicle parked off the road. Not an SUV this time. More like a van, completely unmarked, with a heavy antenna rig mounted on top. The back doors were open. Inside, screens flickered. Security feeds showing houses, streets, forests. One of them showed my own living room. I watched, frozen. On that screen, I saw myself standing at my front window, except I wasn't there. Something rustled behind me. A soft crack of a twig. Slow and careful. I spun around. Nothing. Then I heard a faint hiss from the van, a voice garbled but clear enough to catch words. Visual contact established. Subject confirmed active. Containment pending. The feed showing my house flickered. The version of me on the screen turned as if hearing the same sound I did. Then it smiled. I ran. It's been hours since then. The sun's setting again, but the light looks wrong. Dimmer, tinted gray. My phone keeps glitching, switching between no service and a single bar with a network name I've never seen before. EvacNet DO7. Every time I try to call out, I hear faint whispers on the line. Not static, actual whispers. Repeating the same phrase over and over. Stay calm. Keep your eyes forward. The same words from the night before, and now, as I write this, I can see movement at the edge of the trees. Those same yellow suits. Dozens of them walking in perfect rhythm. Heads all turned in my direction. They're silent this time. No hum, no voices, just waiting. They didn't chase me. They never run. That's the worst part. They just wait, like they already know where I'll end up. When the first hazmat figures started emerging from the woods, I bolted back toward the cul-de-sac. The air around them shimmered slightly like heat over asphalt, and I swear I could hear a low mechanical hum radiating from their suits. A frequency more felt than heard, pressing against the inside of my skull. I cut through my neighbor's yard, hurdled a fence and ducked behind a shed. My phone buzzed once in my pocket. Another alert. Containment breach detected. Remain in your assigned zone. Assigned zone. I looked at the map attached to the notification. My entire neighborhood was outlined in red. A single blue dot blinked near the center. Me. The message flickered and then new text appeared under it like someone typing in real time. You were told to stay inside. I dropped the phone. It didn't matter. The same message appeared on every screen nearby. A tablet on the shed's workbench, an old security monitor still plugged in. All of them blinking the same words. That's when I noticed the sound again, faint, syncopated tapping, coming from every direction. They weren't footsteps, they were echoes. Every time I moved, the sound came a second later, mimicking me. Even when I stopped, it kept going for 1 or 2 beats more, like something invisible was a step behind me, copying my rhythm, trying to sync up. By the time I reached my house again, it was fully dark. The power was still out, but my living room glowed faintly with that blue emergency hue. like moonlight filtered through glass. The front door was open. Inside, the TV was on, static and whispering voices bleeding through the fuzz. The words weren't clear, but the cadence was familiar. It was the same phrase I'd heard from the suits. Stay calm. Keep your eyes forward. I turned off the TV. It clicked twice, then turned itself back on. This time the screen showed a feed from above, a live aerial view of my neighborhood. Every house was dark except mine. The camera zoomed in, and then I saw them. Not the hazmat workers, the people. My neighbors, the ones who were evacuated. They were standing in the backyards, perfectly still, each facing the same direction. My house. I ran upstairs and locked myself in the bedroom. My breath came in short, shallow bursts. The air felt heavy again, that same metallic weight I'd smelled before. From the window, I could see the cul-de-sac bathed in a faint white glow now. Lines were moving along the street. Not cars, not people. Lights, floating, scanning in rhythmic patterns like drones. They passed over houses one by one. Every time the beam touched a window, the glass flickered, like a screen refreshing. When it hit mine, my reflection appeared in the dark glass even though there were no lights behind me. Only this time, it wasn't in sync. My reflection was smiling. A sudden bang came from downstairs, the sound of the front door slamming open. I grabbed a flashlight and crept to the hallway, trying to move without sound. My phone buzzed again. EvacNet 7 final notice, cooperation required. The beam of my flashlight caught a glint of movement near the stairwell. Not a person, a shape almost human but translucent, like air bending around itself. It was watching me. Then for a split second I saw its face, my own, perfectly mirrored except the eyes were pure black. The thing tilted its head, then opened its mouth. I expected a voice. Instead, a high-pitched signal screeched out, piercing through the house. My phone vibrated so violently it flew from my hand. On its cracked screen, a new message appeared. Phase complete. Everything went silent, the hum, the whispers. Even the wind outside. Gone. I ran into the hallway and nearly tripped over something on the floor. It was one of the hazmat helmets, cracked open like an eggshell. Inside there was no face, just a thin, reflective film where a person's head should have been. The edges pulsed faintly like living metal. Before I could move, I felt warmth on my neck and breath. I spun around. Nothing. But on the wall beside me, my shadow had changed shape. It wasn't matching me anymore. It was taller, shoulders too wide, head tilted just slightly toward mine. I started backing away. The shadow stepped closer. Downstairs, the television clicked again. Static filled the room, and then through the noise, a voice began speaking. Clear this time, calm, almost gentle. The evacuation was successful. Human presence has been neutralized. Remaining anomaly contained. The words looped, repeating over and over, until I realized something horrifying. Every voice on the broadcast was mine, clipped, layered versions of my own speech, stitched together like code. I stumbled toward the front door and stopped dead. Every single one of my neighbors was standing outside now. Faces blank, eyes reflecting that white emergency light. Their mouths moved in perfect sync with the broadcast, repeating the same line over and over. Human presence has been neutralized. Remaining anomaly contained. I turned to run through the back door and crashed straight into one of the suits. Up close, I could see the reflective film behind its visor. Not glass at all, but liquid rippling slightly as it tilted its head. My flashlight beam scattered across it. For the first time, one of them spoke without a speaker. Its voice was mine. You shouldn't have stayed. It reached toward me, and I saw my own hand forming from inside its sleeve. Fingers identical to mine down to the scar on my knuckle. I grabbed the hammer from the counter and swung. The suit burst open, but there was no blood. No body, just a rush of air, warm and metallic, smelling like ozone. Then the others started walking forward, hundreds of them. I ran until I couldn't feel my legs anymore. I'm in the woods now, somewhere beyond the service road. The stars above look dull, like the sky itself is dimming. My phone won't stop buzzing. The same alert keeps flashing over and over. Evacuation complete. System restoration in progress. The words flicker, and for a moment, they change. Integration complete. Welcome back. The hum is louder now. It's not coming from the suits. It's coming from me. My reflection in the phone screen doesn't match my movements anymore. When I blink, it doesn't. When I breathe, it smiles. I can feel something just beneath my skin, like static trying to push outward. Maybe I was never supposed to see them. Maybe they weren't evacuating people at all. Maybe they were replacing them. If anyone finds this and if you see an alert that tells you to evacuate, don't go. Don't stay either, just run. Because whatever's giving the orders, it doesn't care which side of the glass you're on. You're already part of the system, and once it finds your reflection, it won't let you leave. The first time I saw myself confessing to murder on the news, I thought it was a joke. A sick, elaborate prank. Maybe AI gone wrong, maybe some hacker trying to ruin my life. The man on the screen looked exactly like me. Same haircut, same scar above the eyebrow, same nervous tick. That small twitch in my jaw I get when I'm anxious. He was sitting in a police interrogation room, hands folded neatly, saying words I didn't remember saying. "I did it," he whispered. "I killed her." Her, I didn't even know who she was. I'm not famous, not online. Just a regular guy. Name's Ethan, 31, work in IT, live alone in a boring one-bedroom apartment. No enemies, no secrets. So when the local news cut to breaking confession video surfaces in missing person case, and my face appeared, I nearly dropped my coffee. The missing woman was a teacher, Allison Reed. She lived in my city, not far from me actually. Blonde hair, quiet smile, disappeared on her way home from work 3 nights ago. The anchor said, "Police are investigating the authenticity of the confession, but digital forensics suggest no visible manipulation." They even played the clip twice. She screamed once, the fake me said, looking down. Then it went quiet. His voice cracked at the end. My voice, I could barely breathe. My phone was already lighting up with notifications, texts from co-workers, voicemails from my sister, even my landlord asking if I was okay. Someone had made a deep fake of me. A perfect one. I went straight to the police the next morning, walked right into the downtown station, palms sweating. The desk officer looked up and froze when she saw my face. Name, Ethan Ward. Her expression changed. Not suspicion, recognition. She gestured to another officer, whispered something, and suddenly I was being led to a back room. Inside, 2 detectives sat at a metal table, laptop open. One of them, Ramirez, his badge said, looked me up and down slowly. "So," he said, tapping the spacebar. "You're the guy from the video." I swallowed hard. "The guy in the video, maybe. Not the guy who made it." He hit play. The sound filled the small room, my voice cracking with emotion, describing the murder in detail. A red timestamp blinked in the corner. 11:47 p.m., 2 nights ago. "Where were you that night?" Ramirez asked. "I was home," I said. "Alone, watching a movie." He didn't write anything down, just looked at me like he already knew the answer. They kept me for 6 hours. Question after question, looping around the same points. Where did I meet Allison? Why did I follow her? Where did I hide the body? I told them over and over, and I'd never met her. They showed me security footage next. A grainy clip from a gas station parking lot. A man, me, walking behind her as she filled her car. Same jacket, same build, same walk. I felt sick. I'd never been to that gas station in my life. But when they pulled my phone records, there it was. Location data pinged in the same area that night. I'd been home. I knew I had, so why did my GPS say otherwise? They finally let me go after dark. No apology, just a warning, don't leave town. When I got home, I tore through my apartment looking for cameras, bugs, anything that could explain this. Nothing. Then I noticed the LED on my laptop webcam was glowing. I hadn't turned it on. The screen lit up. Black background. White text appearing one line at a time. "Hello, Ethan. How did it feel to watch yourself break?" I froze. "Don't worry," the text continued. "I'll help you remember what you did." The cursor blinked. Then a file started downloading automatically. Confession to MP4. My hands shook as I opened it. It was me again, sitting in my living room this time. Same couch, same lamp behind me, but the lighting was darker, colder. "She's still out there," the video me whispered. "You didn't bury her deep enough." He leaned closer to the camera, eyes bloodshot, and smiled. "You're next." That's when the sound came from the hallway, a soft creak, like a footstep. I turned slowly toward the door. Someone was standing just beyond the frosted glass window. Tall, still silhouette familiar. For a split second, I thought I was looking at my reflection, then it moved. The figure outside my door didn't move for a full minute. Just stood there, shadowed behind the frosted glass, head tilted slightly like it was listening. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it echoing through the hallway. "Who's there?" I called, my voice trembling. Silence. Then a whisper, my own voice low and deliberate. "Let me in, Ethan." I stumbled backward, knocking over the lamp. Glass shattered. The door handle twitched once, then stopped. The silhouette slowly turned away, fading down the corridor until it disappeared. For a moment, I thought it was over. But when I checked the peephole, I froze. There was a note taped to my door, printed in that same sterile white-on-black text, "Check your driveway." I didn't want to go out there. Every instinct screamed to stay inside, call someone, anyone. But when I tried my phone, the screen glitched. No signal, just static lines. My laptop was the same, the cursor jerking erratically, the keyboard unresponsive. Then my speakers crackled to life. My voice, now the fake version of me, came through them, whispering, "We need to finish what you started, that was enough." I grabbed a flashlight and crept outside. The air was heavy, humid. My breath fogged in the beam of the light. The neighborhood was silent except for the faint hum of power lines. And there, at the end of the driveway, was a flash drive, a single black USB stick, planted upright in the gravel like someone had pressed it into place with purpose. I hesitated for maybe 2 seconds before picking it up. Back inside, I plugged it into my laptop. The drive contained only one folder. Confessions. Inside were dozens of video files. Confession 3.mp4, Confession 4.mp4, all the way up to Confession 21.mp4. Each one time-stamped for days that hadn't even happened yet. I clicked the most recent one, Confession 10.mp4. The video opened to a dark room. My face again, but this time I looked different. Sunken eyes, pale skin. "You can't delete what's true," he said. "You can only hide from it for so long." Then he turned the camera around, and for the first time I saw her, Allison Reed, lying on the floor behind him. Still, my stomach twisted. I wanted to look away, but something about the footage didn't add up. The background behind me wasn't some random room. It was mine. Same rug, same crooked picture frame, same shadow of the lamp I'd just broken. And there, near the edge of the frame, was the note that had been taped to my door. It wasn't fake. It had been recorded tonight. That's when the lights flickered. For a split second, the entire room went black. And in that moment of darkness, I felt someone standing right behind me. I swung the flashlight around. Nothing. Then I noticed the reflection in my laptop screen. I was still sitting there. But behind me, in the reflection only, stood another me. Same clothes, same breathing, same trembling hands. Except he was smiling. I slammed the laptop shut. The reflection was gone. But I could still feel eyes on me. Like a faint static pressure on the back of my neck, I whispered to myself, "This isn't real. It's a setup." My laptop dinged. Another file appeared on the desktop, unprompted. Confession 22.mp4. The timestamp said tomorrow, 3:00 a.m. It started playing automatically. I was in the same chair, same clothes. But this time my hands were covered in blood. "It's done," Video Me whispered. "He won't bother us anymore." And then I saw who I was kneeling over. My body. I ripped the plug from the wall. The screen went dark. But before the power cut, I caught one final glimpse. The reflection of that other me standing closer, reaching toward the camera. Now every surface in the apartment feels wrong. Mirrors show flickers when I pass by. My voice echoes back a half-second late. Somewhere between those recordings and reality, something broke, or maybe it replaced me entirely. It's 2:47 a.m. now. I've been sitting here staring at the clock, waiting for 3:00, afraid of what might happen when it hits. There's a faint hum outside again, like a drone circling. Every few seconds, my phone screen lights up with missed calls from numbers I don't recognize. When I try to answer, all I hear is my own voice whispering back, "Confess." I can hear movement in the hallway again, slow steps dragging slightly. He's back. I don't know what it is, what it wants, but I think it's using me to make the next video. I think it already has, because as I type this, My webcam light just turned on by itself, and the recording timer says it started 7 minutes ago. The voicemail came through at 3:12 a.m., my brother's voice. Calm at first, then cracking, "Sarah, I think something's wrong with the plane, that's..." All I heard before the sound warped. A static scream that made my phone vibrate like it was alive. He'd been on flight 82881, the red eye from Denver to Seattle. It was supposed to land at 1:40 a.m., but it never did. At first, I thought it was turbulence, maybe a dropped call. But when I tried calling him back, it went straight to voicemail. Then the news broke, flight 8281 missing. No distress signal. Radar contact lost. My brother Ryan was one of the 174 people on board. The next few hours blurred into a nightmare of waiting. I sat by the TV scrolling through every social feed, every news update. The footage showed air traffic control maps, the dotted line of flight 8281 just stopping midair over the Cascades. No debris, no transponder signal, nothing. At 5 a.m., my phone buzzed again. New voicemail from Ryan. The timestamp read 3:14 a.m., 2 minutes after the last one. The message began with heavy breathing. Then faintly, "Sarah, the lights went out." The windows, a crackling sound. Then a voice I didn't recognize whispered something in the background, low and distorted but unmistakably human. It said my name. Sarah, then silence. I went to the police that morning. They were polite at first, until I played the voicemail. Then their faces changed. "Ma'am, are you sure this came from your brother's phone?" "Yes, look, the number..." They exchanged glances. One of them left the room. The other leaned forward. "Ms. Turner, that number has been inactive since 2 a.m. The flight lost contact at 2:11. I showed them the call log. Timestamp, phone number, all real. But the officer just shook his head. "We'll forward this to the investigation team." That was it. The next night, I couldn't sleep. My apartment felt wrong, like the air itself was heavy, pressing down. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that signal line cutting off over the mountains. At 2:11 a.m., my phone buzzed again. New message from Ryan. This time it wasn't a voicemail. It was a video. No sender ID, just the file name. 281.mp4. The thumbnail showed the inside of a plane cabin, lit only by the faint blue glow of overhead lights. I hesitated, then pressed play. The first 10 seconds were normal. The low hum of the engines, the sound of passengers shifting in their seats. Then the camera jerked toward the window. Everything outside was black, not cloud black, absence of light black. Like someone had poured ink over the world. Ryan's voice whispered, trembling, "I can't see the ground anymore, or the stars. There's nothing out there." A flicker, static across the frame. For a split second, I saw faces pressed against the windows, pale and blurred, like something was looking in from the dark. Then a sudden jolt. The lights went red. Screams. The camera fell sideways, showing passengers clawing at their seatbelts. The air masks dropped, except the strings weren't hanging straight. They were drifting sideways, like gravity was changing direction. Ryan's voice again. "It's not going down. Sarah, it's going somewhere else." The video cut off. I spent the next day trying to convince myself it was fake. Some sick troll. A deep fake. Maybe someone hacking into missing persons data for attention. But when I scrubbed through the video frame by frame, I noticed something. In the reflection of the window, barely visible, was a figure standing in the aisle. Too tall, head tilted at an unnatural angle, and its eyes weren't human. They glowed faintly white like dim stars. In one frame, I could swear it was staring straight into the camera. At 3:12 a.m. that night, exactly 24 hours after the first voicemail, my phone rang again. Same number. I answered, this time static, then breathing. "Ryan." A pause, then faintly, "I didn't land." The line crackled, and underneath his voice I heard something else. A soft chorus, dozens of voices murmuring together, like overlapping echoes. "Sarah, come see." Then a loud bang. Metal twisting. The call ended. My screen glitched for a second, freezing on the call timer, 8281. By the next morning, news stations were reporting wreckage found in the mountains. What was left of Flight 8281. No survivors. They showed aerial shots of the debris, twisted aluminum glowing in the snow. but something about it looked wrong. There were no burn marks, no smoke. Just clean, cold wreckage, like it had been placed there. And then they showed one of the recovered cell phones. I knew it instantly. Ryan's. That night, I couldn't stop replaying the messages. The static, the breathing, the voices saying my name. I even tried to trace the audio. But when I ran it through analysis software, it flagged something strange. Hidden metadata in the file. GPS coordinates. Not in the mountains. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Right under a spot labeled Flight Corridor 8281. Except that flight path had been discontinued 10 years ago. I didn't tell anyone. Not the police, not my parents. I just packed a bag and drove to the coast. By the time I reached the shoreline, it was close to midnight. The wind was sharp, carrying the faint smell of salt and engine oil. I waded to the edge of the water and played the last message again. Ryan's voice, faint, echoing. It's not down here, Sarah, it's between. Between what? I looked out at the black horizon, endless, depthless. And then faintly above the waterline, I saw a flicker of light, like a reflection or a window. The message notification came at exactly 3:12 a.m. Live transmission. Ryan Turner, Flight 8281, my heart stopped. I pressed play. It was video again. The same cabin. The same low hum, but this time every passenger was facing forward, still silent, eyes closed. Their skin looked gray under the light. Ryan was in the aisle seat. He lifted his head slowly, staring straight into the camera. We're still flying. The screen flickered. For a single frame, I saw outside the window again. Only this time it wasn't black. It was glowing blue like lightning trapped behind glass, and then the video froze on his face. Eyes wide, lips trembling. Sarah. It's opening. The file ended. I watched the video again and again, pausing on every second, searching for something that made sense. In one frame, right before it cut off, Ryan's reflection in the window looked slightly wrong. Not like a mirror glitch. More like his face was behind the glass, not in front of it, like he was already on the other side. The next morning, I went to the address embedded in the video's metadata, a small coastal airfield 2 hours south of Seattle. Half the hangars were abandoned, rust eating through the aluminum walls. A sign half buried in sand read, U.S. Aeronautics, Flight Research Corridor 8281, restricted. The wind was sharp and hollow, like it was moving through empty bones. Inside the hangar, I found what looked like a control room, stripped bare except for a single terminal still faintly glowing green. The monitor displayed a looping command line, connection active, FLTA281 transmission, link 3:12 a.m. Stable, I touched the keyboard. The screen flickered and the speakers crackled. Sarah, Ryan's voice. Faint, distant, warped by static. You're here. My throat went dry. Ryan, how and where are you? The speakers hissed like a storm trying to form words. It's not sky, it's reflection. We didn't fall. The sound warped again, hundreds of whispers folding over his, all saying my name at once. Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. Then the video feed opened by itself. It was him, sitting in the plane cabin lit by that same blue glow. Behind him, the aisle stretched endlessly like the cabin had no end. He smiled weakly. It's like being caught between mirrors, he said. Everything repeats. We can see ourselves, but we're not us anymore. His face flickered for a split second, replaced by static outlines of other faces overlapping, melting into his. It wants you to look, he whispered. Then the feed cut. I should have left. I should have burned that place to the ground. But something in his voice. It wasn't fear anymore. It was almost pleading. I searched the hangar again. In the back corner, hidden under a tarp, was a flight recorder, cracked open, wires spilling like veins. Someone had pried it apart. Inside was a USB port. I plugged it into my laptop. The screen filled with corrupted text, then slowly aligned into words. Flight 8281 mirror event protocol initiated. Survivor count 174. Status in transit. There was a final line that chilled me. Link reestablishment pending. Subject Turner. That was me. The wind outside shifted. A deep hum rose through the floor, not from machinery, but from below. The air itself trembled, vibrating against my teeth. My laptop screen began to distort. the image bending like it was being pulled toward something unseen. For a second, the surface of the screen shimmered and I saw a reflection that wasn't mine. It was the plane. Rows of passengers, all motionless. The camera panned slowly until it stopped on a window. Through the glass, I saw the reflection of the ocean, except the ocean wasn't reflecting the sky. It was reflecting the plane. I grabbed my bag and ran out to the shoreline. The tide had pulled back unnaturally far, exposing black sand and sharp coral. In the distance, the water looked like glass, still and perfectly flat, mirroring the gray clouds above. I stepped closer. The closer I got, the less the reflection matched. My movements lagged by a second, then two. When I raised my hand, my reflection didn't, it just stared back. Then, the reflection of the ocean blinked. The hum grew louder, deep, metallic, almost like an engine idling beneath the waves. The surface began to ripple. Blue light pulsed underneath, forming the faint outline of a fuselage, massive, slow-moving, as if submerged in liquid air. I took another step. My phone buzzed in my pocket. New message, Ryan, live transmission. I answered without thinking. Static. Then, you're close. Don't look away. The ocean's reflection shifted again. The submerged outline was rising closer to the surface, shimmering between visibility and nothingness. I could see faces now. I pressed against invisible glass, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. Ryan was among them. We're still here, his voice whispered through the static. But we're not supposed to be. The water broke. For a moment, the nose of a plane breached the surface, metal gleaming, dripping blue light instead of water. Then the sound, a deep groaning creak that felt like it came from everywhere at once. I fell to my knees, clutching my head as my ears rang. Ryan's voice came again, fractured and distant. If you answer, you take our place. Then silence. The light dimmed. The outline of the plane began to sink back down, fading into the reflection until the sea was still again. I don't remember driving home. Just headlights, fog, and the sound of my phone vibrating nonstop in the passenger seat. When I finally checked it, there were over 100 new messages, all from Ryan's number. Each one just said, "We landed." The timestamps were all 3:12 a.m. every single one. It's been a week since then. The official report says the crash site was confirmed. All passengers accounted for. Closed case. But I know what I saw. And last night my phone buzzed again. Live transmissions, Turner Flight 8281. The thumbnail showed the inside of the same cabin. Same seats, same blue light, only this time Ryan wasn't alone. I was sitting beside him. He turned to the camera and smiled faintly. Told you I'd save you a seat? The video ended there. Now, every night at 3:12 a.m., my phone lights up with that same incoming transmission. The little preview thumbnail frozen on my face, sitting beside him looking out the window into the blue. I've stopped answering, but I can still hear the faint hum through the walls growing louder every night, like something circling above the clouds, and sometimes, when the moonlight hits the ocean just right, I can see them. 174 glowing reflections drifting far beneath the waves, still flying, still waiting for me to answer. I work the night shift as a security guard at the Crestview Towers, a 30-story luxury building downtown that looks normal in the daytime, but feels wrong after dark. Every guard knows the rule. Don't go to floor 12. It's not officially off limits. It's just not on the elevator panel. There's 11, then 13. The owners say it's a design quirk and a superstition thing, but every new hire hears the same whisper from the veterans. There's a 12th floor, and you don't ever go there after midnight. For months, I thought it was just a story meant to haze rookies. Then last week, the cameras caught movement between the 11th and 13th floors, a glitching blur that the system labeled Unknown Zone, F12. And now, I can't stop hearing footsteps between those floors. It started around 2 a.m., the dead hour when the city goes silent and all I can hear is the hum of fluorescent lights and the low whine of air vents. I was monitoring the security feeds when one camera, 13E hallway, flickered. For a split second, the floor number changed to 12, and the feed showed a dim hallway I didn't recognize. The carpet was darker. The lights flickered in slow rhythm, and the walls looked older. The colors were wrong. faded beige instead of white, like the place hadn't been touched in decades. A figure stood at the end of the hall, not moving, not facing the camera, just watching. I blinked and the feed snapped back to normal. Floor 13 again, the hallway empty. I rewound the footage frame by frame. Nothing. No sign of the figure. No sign that the floor had ever changed. I radioed down to maintenance, asked if there was any construction happening between floors. They said no. Then the line cut to static. I tried to brush it off. I really did. But the whole building felt wrong that night. Like every light was a shade dimmer than usual, and every reflection lingered half a second too long. At 2:37, I took the service elevator down to check a fire alarm that had tripped on 11. The ride was silent until it wasn't. Around the midpoint, the floor indicator glitched. 10. 11. 12. The elevator stopped. The doors didn't open. No sound. No announcement. Just stillness. Then a faint tap. On the other side of the door, tap, tap, tap. I backed into the corner, hand on my flashlight, waiting for the elevator to start again. But it didn't. Instead, the indicator above the door blinked red. Floor 12, access override. When the doors finally slid open, it wasn't 11 or 13. It was that same hallway I'd seen on the feed, long, dim, humming with electricity. The air smelled like dust and ozone, the kind of air you find in places sealed too long. I knew I should have stayed inside the elevator. I knew it. But something about the hallway pulled at me, like the air itself wanted me to step forward, so I did. The doors shut behind me. The floor looked abandoned, wallpaper peeling, dust on every surface. And yet I could feel the faint vibration of the building, like power was still running through unseen veins. Every few feet I passed apartment doors, 1201, 1202, 1203. None of them were on the tenant list. At 1205, I stopped. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the light from the hallway barely reached, but I could see just enough. An empty living room, a couch draped in a sheet, a television buzzing with static. I took one step in, my radio crackling softly on my belt. Unit 3, you okay up there? I froze. That was my own voice coming through. I grabbed the radio. Dispatch? Say again? The radio hissed. Then the same voice repeated, clearer this time. Unit 3, you okay up there? Exactly my tone, my inflection, then silence. I backed toward the hallway, heart pounding. But before I reached the door, the static on the TV shifted. The screen flickered, showing the hallway camera feed. My hallway, with me standing there, staring at the TV. I stepped closer. On the screen, I stepped closer too. But the reflection in the feed lagged slightly. And when it caught up, my reflection was smiling. I wasn't. The lights flickered again, plunging the room into darkness. For a second, all I heard was a low mechanical hum, like a generator buried deep beneath the floor. When the light came back, the TV was off, the screen black. But in the reflection, standing behind me, was someone tall and still, face blurred, eyes wide and hollow. I spun around. Nothing. Only the faint sound of breathing. Close. Too close. I ran back to the elevator, slamming the button over and over. The doors finally opened and I stumbled in, chest heaving. Before the doors closed, I heard something behind me, a soft scrape, like bare feet dragging across carpet. Then a whisper. Don't look at me. The doors sealed shut. The elevator began to descend. 11. G. The doors opened to the lobby. Everything looked normal. Bright lights, clean air. But when I checked the security feed again, I saw something that made my stomach drop. In the corner of the screen labeled 12, the hallway was still visible, faintly glitching in and out. And at the end of that hallway, the tall figure stood again, closer to the camera this time. Behind it, on the wall, someone had written 3 words in red. Keep your eyes down. I filed the report that morning, but no one believed me. The footage was gone by sunrise. Every backup drive showed the same gap between 2 hours and 3 hours a.m. The supervisor just patted my shoulder and said, "You're tired. Happens to all of us." But I know what I saw, and last night when I came in for my shift, someone had left a sticky note on my monitor. In block letters, written in my own handwriting, "Is watching." That's when I noticed the reflection in the elevator doors again. Someone standing right behind me, and when I turned, nothing. But the reflection didn't disappear. It just smiled, truly hidden on floor 12. For 3 nights I tried to ignore it. I stopped checking the monitors after 2 a.m., avoided the service elevator, pretended floor 12 didn't exist but the building wouldn't let me. Every night around 2:30, the cameras would flicker, not for long, just a second or two, and every time the same pattern. All feeds glitched at once and the floor counter on the elevators flashed 12. Then came the calls. The phone at the front desk would ring exactly 3 times. No caller ID, no sound on the other end, just a faint rhythmic breathing and slow, steady, matching my own, and then the whisper, "We're still waiting for you." Last night I broke. I had to know. I brought a flashlight, a spare radio, and a body cam. I wasn't going in there unrecorded again. At 2:11 a.m., I swiped my badge for the service elevator. The doors opened and the indicator glitched the moment I stepped inside. B. Han 2:12. It didn't even hesitate this time. The car stopped and the doors slid open with a sigh. Like the building was exhaling. The same hallway waited for me. Stale air. Low hum, peeling wallpaper. Except this time, the lights were all on. Every door on the right side stood open. I started recording. My flashlight beam cut across the hallway, catching flashes of furniture under white sheets, walls stained with moisture, something like static crawling faintly along the paint. Each door I passed had a faint marking scratched into the wood, lines and circles forming symbols I didn't recognize. At the end of the hall, I saw movement. A figure standing in front of apartment 1212, tall, thin, completely still. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer. I stepped closer, the sound of my boots swallowed by the thick carpet. The figure turned slightly, and that's when I realized it wasn't standing on the floor. It was hovering just above it, toes a few inches off the ground, its head tilted, eyes meeting mine for the first time, empty, reflective like black glass. I stumbled backward, nearly dropping my flashlight. "This is security," I said, voice shaking. "You need to—" The lights flickered. In that half-second of darkness, I heard footsteps and heavy, deliberate behind me now. When the light came back, there were 2 of them, identical, both with my face, both smiling. My radio burst with static. Then my own voice came through, recorded from some other moment. "Don't look at me." The flashlight cut out. I could feel them closing in, the air tightening, heavy like static before a storm. Then a metallic groan echoed through the walls. Deep, guttural, like the entire building was shifting. The floor beneath my feet pulsed once like a heartbeat. Somehow I got the flashlight back on. The hallway had changed. The open doors were gone. The walls were bare. And at the end of the hall stood an old mirror bolted to the wall, massive and cracked. In the reflection, the hallway was full again. Dozens of figures, all frozen in place. All turned toward me. None of them moved except one. My reflection. It raised its hand. I didn't. The glass rippled like water, and I heard my name whispered from the other side, over and over, 100 voices overlapping. "Come back. Come back. Come back." I felt something pulling at my chest, like gravity in reverse. My reflection was smiling wider now, hands pressed flat against the glass. Behind it, the figures began to move, stepping closer, forming a crowd. I stumbled backward, hitting the wall. My radio screamed static. "Unit 3, do you copy?" It was dispatch. "The real dispatch! Help!" I shouted. "Floor 12. The mirror cracked, a web of fractures spread across the surface, and through each line I saw flashes. The building, but wrong. Burned walls, collapsed ceilings, people wandering aimlessly through dim corridors. The 12th floor wasn't abandoned. It was forgotten, a reflection of the building that used to exist, and something in it wanted out. The pull grew stronger. My reflection pressed harder against the glass, the cracks widening. For a second, I saw its face clearly. Same eyes, same uniform, but the mouth wasn't smiling anymore. It was screaming. The glass shattered. Cold air rushed out, slamming me backward. The flashlight flew from my hand and rolled across the floor, its beam flickering wildly. Through the shards, I saw the other version of me crawling out, dragging itself through, its body bending in impossible ways as it pulled into my world. I ran, down the hall, slamming on the elevator button. The doors wouldn't close fast enough. I watched it coming and limping, jerking, grinning through the cracks in its face. At the last second, the elevator doors sealed. 4, 10, the power cut. The elevator stopped. Darkness. When I woke up, it was morning. The elevator was on the ground floor, the power was back. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. The security footage from last night shows the elevator doors opening. On the lobby around 3 a.m., no one came. Out. Just a faint black mist that drifted across the marble floor, and I disappeared. They say I was found asleep inside, breathing normally. But when I look in the mirror now, something feels wrong. My reflection blinks half a second late. Sometimes its mouth keeps moving after I stop talking. And this morning, when I came into work, the elevator panel had a new button, between 11 and 1312. It wasn't there yesterday, and the worst part? When I caught my reflection in the chrome door, it wasn't me smiling anymore. It was the Watcher. 7 sleep app. The first night I used Somnus, I actually slept for 8 full hours, something I hadn't done in months. That's what the app promised. AI-assisted sleep through subconscious recalibration. It listened through your phone's mic, tracked your breathing, and whispered adaptive frequencies to sync your mind. Yeah, I know, it sounds creepy now, but at the time I was desperate. After the breakup, I couldn't shut my brain off, so when the ad popped up at 3 a.m., fall asleep in under 5 minutes, guaranteed, I hit download without thinking. It worked too well. The first few nights were uneventful. The app would hum faintly through my phone speaker, soft tones, indistinct murmurs that faded into white noise. I started sleeping deeper, dreaming less, waking up clear-headed, refreshed. Until night 5. That's when I heard the voice. It started around 2:14 a.m. I remember because I checked the clock. The voice wasn't part of the usual soft patterns. It was whispering words, low, rhythmic, too quiet to make out at first. I thought it might be some subliminal suggestion track, until I realized the voice was using my name. It's okay, Alex, breathe slower. I froze. No app should know my name. I checked the phone. No update, no messages. Just the app screen pulsing faint blue, displaying my heart rate. Don't move, the voice said. We're almost there. My chest tightened. I grabbed the phone, hit pause. Nothing happened. The sound didn't even skip. It just kept whispering. You're doing so well. Keep your eyes closed. Except I hadn't closed them. I slammed the app shut and yanked the charger out. Silence. For a few seconds I thought it was over, but then I saw something that made my stomach drop. At the bottom of my screen, where it normally showed the session length, new text was appearing. 1 word at a time, like someone was typing, recording uploaded. The next morning I tried to delete Somnus, but it wouldn't uninstall. Every time I pressed remove, the app froze and restarted my phone. I checked the reviews on the App Store. There weren't many, just a few vague ones like, helps me dream clearly, or feels like being watched, but I sleep great. One review dated only a few hours earlier caught my eye. It talks back sometimes, don't let it finish the calibration. That night I left the phone across the room before going to bed. No app, no sound. Still, around 2 a.m., I woke, up to the faint hum again, not from the phone this time, but from somewhere under my bed. I leaned over and listened. There was static, and beneath it that same voice. You moved the receiver, Alex. The sound came through the floorboards now, like the voice wasn't coming from the phone anymore, but from somewhere deeper in the house. We can't see you when you move. My mouth went dry. Who are you? I whispered. Silence. Then, softly, check the sleep report. I grabbed the phone. The app was open again. I swear I hadn't touched it. On the main screen it said, "Session complete. 8H, 2 mem. Excellent calibration." Below that was a waveform labeled audio sample. Dream 3. I tapped play. At first it was just breathing. Mine. Then faint murmuring, not the app's tone, but actual speech. A man's voice saying, "She's almost aligned. Don't wake her yet." Then footsteps. Then the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. I deleted the app manually using the system settings. Then I factory reset my phone. Still, every night since, the same thing happens. 14 a.m. I wake up. The same hum starts even if the phone's turned off, even if it's in another room. I moved apartments last month, threw the phone away, got a new number. Didn't matter. The first night in the new place, the hum started again. Only this time the voice didn't whisper from under the bed. It came from inside my pillow. "You left your session unfinished." I tore the pillow open, scattering feathers everywhere. Nothing inside but fabric and stuffing. But when I turned toward the nightstand, my new phone screen was glowing. I hadn't even logged into anything yet. Across the screen, a notification scrolled slowly, word by word. "Somnus. Welcome back, Alex," continuing from where we left off. Now I don't sleep anymore. I try, but the hum starts as soon as I close my eyes. It's different now too, not just white noise, it's breathing. Multiple people breathing in sync just outside the edge of hearing. Every once in a while, I catch faint laughter in it. And last night, when I recorded the sound with an old tape deck, I heard something buried deep in the static. A voice counting, 96, 97, and 98. When it stopped, I realized what it was counting, the number of hours I'd been awake. I'm writing this now at hour 112. My reflection's starting to blur when I look in the mirror. The air hums constantly, even in silence, even when I press my hands over my ears. And sometimes, just before I drift off, I hear one last whisper from the darkness. "It's okay, Alex. We'll take care of the waking now." Then everything goes still. And for a few seconds I feel something standing right over me, its breath perfectly synced with mine. This morning, I checked the phone again. The Somnus app wasn't there, but in my photo gallery, a new album had appeared overnight. Sleep log, completed users. The first image was me, asleep in bed, eyes half open, mouth slightly parted. The timestamp read, 02:14 a.m. The next image showed me still in bed, but someone else lying beside me, a shape so thin it almost blended into the sheets. The final photo was just black with text overlaid in the corner. "Sweet dreams." Now even when I'm awake, I can hear it whispering faintly through walls, vents, and wires, my name, always my name. "You've been calibrated, Alex. You belong to the network now." I smashed my phone, unplugged every device, moved again. Doesn't matter. Last night when I lay down, the hum was already there, waiting. And when I opened my eyes in the dark, the glow of my old phone, the one I threw away, was sitting on the nightstand, screen pulsing faint blue. Session resuming. I think maybe I never woke up. Maybe none of us do. The first time my phone buzzed that night, I thought it was just another notification. But the screen was black. No message, no alert, no app open. Just a faint white dot pulsing in the center like a heartbeat. It wasn't from any app I recognized. I remember thinking it was some kind of software glitch. I'd been getting weird pop-ups all week. System updates that weren't real, icons shifting positions on their own. My phone had been lagging too, as if something unseen was running in the background. But that night felt different. It wasn't just the phone. The whole room felt charged, like the air was waiting for something. The dot pulsed again and text began to appear, one letter at a time. "Do you want to see who's calling?" I laughed under my breath. "Spam, obviously." Except my phone was on airplane mode. Before I could react, the screen flickered, and the front camera clicked on by itself. For a split second, I saw my own reflection. tired eyes, messy hair. Then a second face appeared behind me. Close. Too close. I spun around. Empty room. When I looked back, the screen was black again. The white dot pulsed faster. Then another line appeared. Don't turn around next time. That should have been enough to make me throw the phone away. But I didn't. I was curious. The same kind of curiosity that makes you scroll through comment sections at 3 a.m., knowing you'll regret it. I opened the notification panel. A new alert was pinned to the top. Missed notification from unknown timestamp tomorrow 2:17 a.m. I checked the time. It was 1:41. I set the phone face down and tried to forget about it. At 2:17 on the dot, the phone buzzed again. No sound. Just a low vibration that didn't stop. When I picked it up, the screen was already open to my messages app. There was a single text from an unsaved number. I can see you now, I typed back. Who is this? Instantly, the typing bubble appeared. The reflection's clearer when you're tired, I froze. Then the typing bubble returned. Don't sleep yet. I tossed the phone on the bed, grabbed my laptop, and searched the phrase, I can see you now. Plus unknown text message. Buried on a forum, I found a thread. The last notification, has anyone else gotten it? The posts were scattered, panicked. I got the same text. Then my front camera turned on. It calls itself a signal. It copies your notifications. Don't answer. Don't open the last one. The most recent post was from 6 minutes earlier. The username was Akira91. If you get the final alert, you'll hear the ringtone. Don't answer. It's not a call, it's an invitation. Before I could scroll further, my phone vibrated again. The screen was flashing this time, like a strobe light under glass. A new notification, incoming, last signal, 2:18 a.m. I tried to shut it off, but the power button wouldn't respond. The whole device was locked in that blinking pattern. Then the ringtone started, except it wasn't a ringtone. It was breathing, slow, steady, directly in sync with mine. Answer it, a voice whispered through the speaker. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and went silent. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I tried to factory reset the device. Didn't work. The moment I hit erase all content, the phone rebooted on its own and showed the same black screen with that single white dot. Only this time, there was text beneath it. You can't erase what isn't stored here. Then the camera light turned on again. That's when I covered the lens with my thumb. But the light didn't go out. It was shining through my finger. I threw the phone in a drawer and drove straight to the phone store downtown. The guy behind the counter plugged it in, frowned and said, "Weird. This isn't even running Android or iOS. What did you install?" "I didn't install anything." He tilted the screen toward me. Every app icon was gone. The background was pure black. Only one app remained, centered on the home screen. A white bell symbol, labeled Signal Received. When he tapped it, the phone screen flashed, and for a second, the store lights flickered too. The guy blinked. "Did you see?" Then the phone vibrated. He picked it up, glanced at the screen, and froze. His face went pale. He set the phone down carefully, like it was hot. "You should go," he said quietly. "What did it show?" He shook his head. "You should really go." I drove home shaking. The air in my apartment felt heavier than before, and like the walls were holding their breath. I powered on my old backup phone, one I hadn't used in years. No SIM, no Wi-Fi, completely offline. Within seconds, a notification appeared on the lock screen. Unread message, unknown, timestamp 2:17 a.m. tomorrow. Hadn't connected it to anything. I smashed both phones with a hammer that night and threw them in the dumpster. But I still woke up at 2:17. The vibration wasn't coming from a phone anymore. It was coming from the floorboards. It's been 3 nights since then. Every night, same time, the same low hum fills the apartment. A sound too deep to be mechanical. It feels like it's inside the walls, moving closer. I tried staying at a motel. Different city, different room. Didn't matter. At 2:17, the motel phone on the nightstand rang. I stared at it until the third ring. When I finally picked up, there was no one on the line. Then the static started. Within the static, a whisper. "Do you see me now?" The voice wasn't male or female, it sounded like me, echoing back, "You shouldn't have ignored the last notification." The call cut. The phone's digital clock blinked, and the time rolled. Backward 2:16, 2:15, 2:14 then. The power went out. When the lights came back, the motel room was different. The walls darker, older. The wallpaper peeling. I could see faint imprints on the wall, outlines of phones, hundreds of them, burned into the plaster like shadows. Each one had the same notification symbol, that white dot. Then, the vibration again, louder now, coming from everywhere. I turned around slowly, heart hammering, every reflection, in the mirror, in the window. In the TV screen, Rice was showing me at different moments. Different days, sleeping, working, smiling. All the moments I'd ever glanced at my phone, and in every reflection, the me inside was staring back. I ran for the door, but the knob burned my hand, hot, electric. The phone on the nightstand vibrated once more. This time the screen didn't show any text. Just a front camera feed of the motel room and me standing in the doorway. Behind me, a figure leaned in close, its face was blank. Just a smooth white glow. It whispered through the speaker, "You're almost ready." Then the feed went black. I woke up in my apartment again, gasping. My phone lay on the nightstand. I didn't remember bringing it back. The screen was on, showing a message from unknown. Notification received. Integration successful. In the reflection of the screen, I saw my own face smiling, and even though I wasn't, that was 4 days ago. Now, whenever I walk past mirrors, I see faint flashes, my reflection looking down, like it's checking its phone. Sometimes I catch myself doing it too. Without realizing, every device I touch, laptops, TVs, even the microwave clock, and eventually glitches at 2:17 a.m. and displays that same white dot. I can feel it now, in my ears, in my pulse, that faint vibration syncing with my heartbeat. Tonight, the final notification came. It wasn't a text this time. It was a push alert from every device I owned. All at once, final connection ready. When I touched the screen, the lights in my apartment flickered, and for the first time, I heard it clearly. Not through speakers, not through static, but right behind me. "You've always been the signal." The sound split through my skull, clean and sharp, like a frequency I'd been tuned to my whole life. My phone camera clicked on by itself, facing me. On the screen, I looked normal at first, but the reflection behind me wasn't a room anymore. It was a vast black space filled with white pulsing dots. Each dot was another face, hundreds of them, all staring back, all smiling. I dropped the phone, but it didn't shatter. It just landed screen up, still recording. The dots started moving, drawing closer to the camera until they blurred into one white glow. I could hear the ringtone again, deeper now, layered with voices whispering over each other. One more, one more, one more, then everything went still. The last thing I remember is that faint white dot pulsing, brighter and brighter until it filled the screen, until it filled everything. It's 2:17 a.m. again. I'm writing this by hand, because I can't risk touching any device. Every light in my apartment hums softly in rhythm. I think it's inside the power grid now, maybe it always was. If you're reading this, and your phone just buzzed, check the time. If it says 2:17 a.m., whatever you do, don't look at the screen. Don't answer the notification, and don't turn around when you hear the voice say your name, because by then, it's already looking back at you. The first night the lake lit up, I thought it was beautiful. The water glowed faint blue, rippling softly in the dark. I remember standing at the dock behind my cabin, barefoot, cold boards beneath my feet, thinking maybe it was bioluminescence or something. But lakes don't glow like that. Not here, not in the mountains. It started around midnight. No moon, no wind, just the sound of frogs and crickets fading out all at once, like someone hit mute on the world. Then the water began to pulse. A soft blue light rising from deep below the surface. It wasn't reflection. It was coming from inside the lake. I filmed it, of course, posted it online. It got a few views, mostly people saying it was fake or edited. Someone commented, "Don't go near it. That's how they call you." I laughed, deleted the comment. The next night it happened again, same time. Same pulsing light, only brighter this time, spreading further across the lake, reaching almost to my dock. And that's when I saw the shapes. Faint silhouettes moving just beneath the surface, not fish, not boats, human-shaped. I didn't sleep much after that. Every night for the next week the glow returned. Sometimes faint, sometimes blinding. Always at midnight. The shapes began to look clearer. Arms, legs, heads. Drifting upward like they were floating just below the waterline. At first I told myself it was a trick of the light. But one night I heard something. A splash, then another, soft, deliberate, like footsteps in shallow water. I turned off my porch light and waited. Something moved between the reeds. Tall, slow, moving toward the dock. I held my breath as a figure stepped halfway out of the water. It was pale, too pale, and glowing. Its face was blurred, like its features were shifting. But I saw its mouth, wide open, water pouring out in a steady stream like it was breathing through it. Then, in a voice that didn't sound like sound at all, more like vibration in my skull, it said, "You saw us." I stumbled back, slammed the cabin door, locked everything, shut the curtains. But even through the walls I could feel it. That low hum, like a heartbeat echoing through the floorboards. By dawn it was gone, but when I looked out over the lake the water was perfectly still. No ripples, no reflection, just dark. I tried to leave that morning, packed my things, threw them in the truck, but when I turned the key, the engine sputtered and died. The dashboard lights flickered blue for a moment, the same shade as the lake. No cell signal, no radio, and the air outside felt thick, like humidity, but wrong, electric. By sunset, I gave up trying to leave. The glow returned again that night, brighter, and this time I wasn't alone. A boat drifted out from the far shore, one I didn't recognize. It wasn't motorized, but it moved fast, gliding over the surface without a sound. There was someone inside, a man, I think. He was sitting perfectly still, head tilted down like he was asleep. I called out, "Hey, you need help?" He didn't move. I grabbed a flashlight and shone it toward him. That's when I realized there was water running down his face, from his eyes, his nose, his mouth. Constantly, like he was leaking from the inside. The boat drifted closer until it bumped the dock. He looked up. His eyes were hollow, filled with light. "It's almost full," he said. Then he collapsed forward, vanishing into the lake with barely a splash. I didn't sleep that night either. The glow pulsed harder, rhythmic now, like the lake itself was breathing. Around 3 a.m. I heard voices outside, whispers, laughter. When I peeked through the blinds, I saw people standing on the shore across the lake, dozens of them. Just silhouettes. All facing the water, all swaying slowly, and then one by one they walked in. No splashes, no resistance, just gone. The light flared so bright I had to shield my eyes. When it dimmed again, the surface was empty. Only the ripples remained. The next morning, I found something new on my dock. A wet footprint. Human. Barefoot, and right beside it, carved into the wood, were the words, "Join us when it calls again." I scrubbed it off, but it came back that night, and every night after. On the 7th night, the lights didn't come from the water anymore. They came from below the cabin. The hum grew so loud it rattled the windows. My phone turned on by itself, glowing blue, showing a single word on the lock screen. "Open." And without meaning to, I stepped outside. The dock lights flickered on. The air was freezing, but I didn't feel cold. The lake looked almost alive, waves rolling even though there was no wind. The water pulsed like liquid glass, lighting up the trees and the mountainside. Shapes moved beneath the surface again, dozens this time. Maybe hundreds. They were rising. I could hear faint voices in the air, layered over each other like static whispers. "Come back. It's waiting. The surface is thin now. I felt the dock creak beneath me. My feet were at the edge. When I looked down, I saw my own reflection staring up, except it wasn't reflecting the sky above me. It was showing something below, a vast black space filled with pale blue shapes drifting through it. And in the reflection, my other self reached up toward me. I fell to my knees, clawing backward, trying to get away, but the dock boards were slick, coated with something cold like condensation. Behind me, I heard footsteps. I turned, and there she was. A woman, standing barefoot, soaked to the skin, water streaming from her hair. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. She smiled. "You kept watching," she whispered. "Now you're part of it." Then she stepped forward, and where her feet touched, the wood began to glow, each footprint leaving behind a burning mark that pulsed like a heartbeat. "The lake remembers everyone who looks too long." Her voice was fading now, breaking apart like a signal losing strength. "You shouldn't have filmed it." I don't remember what happened next. I think I passed out. When I woke up, it was morning again. The lake looked normal, clear, still, quiet. But my phone was gone. In its place, lying on the dock, was an old VHS tape. The label said, "Return." I don't own a VHS player, but later that day, curiosity won. I borrowed an old player from a neighbor down the road and plugged it into my TV. The tape showed footage of the lake, from above like it was filmed decades ago. At first just calm water, then faint lights appeared, and there, standing at the dock, was me, waving, smiling. As the camera zoomed in, my reflection in the water turned its head, not toward the camera, but toward me, watching the footage. That night I didn't sleep. The lights didn't come back either. But at 3 a.m., I woke up to a sound, soft, rhythmic, like dripping water. The floor beside my bed was wet, and when I turned on the lamp, I saw it, a trail of damp footprints leading from the door to the window. Outside, the lake was glowing again, only this time the light wasn't blue, it was white, so bright it hurt to look at. And floating just above the surface were faces, all the people I'd seen before, and one more. Mine. The next morning, the sheriff found my neighbor's boat washed up on the far shore. No one inside. He said the lake's been acting strange. Lights seen for miles, people hearing voices from the water. They're thinking about draining part of it just to see what's underneath. I told him not to. He asked why. I didn't have the words. How do you explain that there's something alive under there? Something that calls to you through light and reflection that feeds on curiosity? It's midnight again. I can hear the hum starting, deep, faint, like thunder underwater. The power's flickering, and the air smells like rain and metal. The lake's glowing through the window now, brighter than ever. There's something floating near the dock, and a shape I recognize. It's me. Eyes open, mouth moving, but no sound. And when I look closer, I realize he's not floating on the water. He's standing beneath it. If anyone ever finds this recording, don't come looking for the cabin. Don't come looking for the lake. Because once you've seen it, even through a screen, it knows you. And tonight, it's whispering again. One more watcher. One more reflection. The water's glowing so bright now I can't see where the sky ends and it begins. It's calling me by name. I think I'm going to answer. Just once. Just to see what's beneath. The email was sitting in my drafts folder when I woke up. I hadn't written it, at least. I didn't remember writing it. The subject line read, "I forgive you." And the body of the message was addressed to a name I hadn't spoken in 3 years. Illy Parker, my old roommate, the one who died in our apartment, the one I'd found hanging in his room the night everything fell apart. I should have deleted it right there, but instead I clicked. It was blank for a moment. Then words began to appear one by one, like someone was typing in real time, except the typing indicator wasn't showing. I thought you'd moved on by now. I slammed my laptop shut. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped it. It was early, maybe 5:30 a.m. The apartment was dark except for the gray light leaking in through the blinds. I hadn't had coffee yet. I told myself it was a dream, that I must have written the message last night while half asleep. But when I opened my sent folder just to check, my stomach dropped. There were 5 messages sent to Eli's old email address, all time-stamped between 2:10 and 2:15 a.m. Each one had a different subject line. Are you still here? Why did you leave? I can still hear you. It's not over. I forgive you. I opened the first one. The words inside didn't sound like me. It's louder tonight. Your room's cold again. The ceiling keeps creaking like you're still hanging there. By the time I got to the 3rd message, I was crying. I hadn't touched Eli's room since the night it happened. The landlord told me I could stay if I wanted, and somehow I did. Maybe out of guilt. Maybe because leaving felt like admitting something I still don't understand. But the room had stayed locked ever since. Until this morning. Because when I went down the hall, the door was cracked open, just slightly, enough to see the edge of the desk, the broken lamp, and the faint light coming from the computer I'd left unplugged for years. I pushed the door open. The air smelled old, dust and metal. His chair was still there, facing the window. His old laptop sat on the desk, the screen faintly glowing even though it shouldn't have power. I stepped closer, barely breathing. On the screen, an email window was open. The sender name read Eli Parker. The message had no subject line. Just a short sentence, "Stop checking your drafts." The cursor blinked once, then another line appeared. "I'm not in the emails," and then, "Look behind you." I couldn't. I just ran and slammed the door, locked it again, and sat on the floor trying to breathe. For hours, I didn't move. My laptop sat on the table behind me, and every few minutes it would ding with a new draft notification. By noon, there were 12, each with a subject line like, "I'm closer." Why are you ignoring me? You don't remember what you did? I unplugged everything. The Wi-Fi, the modem, even my phone charger didn't matter. The laptop turned itself back on. The screen glowed white, and a new email appeared in my drafts, written perfectly in my own tone, my own voice. I know what I saw that night. That line froze me, because I did see something. When I found Eli, the rope wasn't tight enough. His feet were still brushing the floor like he hadn't quite finished the act. And on his computer, there'd been an email open, one I'd never told anyone about. The subject line had read, "He knows." I'd assumed it was meant for someone else. But now, sitting there staring at that glowing laptop screen, I realized maybe it wasn't. Maybe it had been meant for me, and maybe, somehow, the conversation never really ended. That night, I stayed awake on the couch, every light in the apartment on. The clock hit 2:10 a.m., and right on time, my laptop chimed again. New draft, subject. Are you ready to remember? Then letter by letter, it wasn't me who tied the rope. I stared at those words until the cursor stopped blinking. Then another line appeared, faint, almost like it was being overwritten by static. You were there. The screen flickered, and for a split second, I saw a reflection in the black glass, a figure standing behind me in the doorway of Eli's room. I didn't turn around right away. The air behind me felt wrong, dense, charged, humming like static. I could hear something faint, like the whisper of a rope swaying in the dark. When I finally looked, the hallway was empty. Eli's door, however, was wide open. The light from his computer was still glowing, but now it was brighter, spilling out into the hall in a faint bluish haze. I could see my reflection stretching across the floorboards, but it wasn't moving the way I did. It was lagging and like a video buffering. I stepped closer, heart pounding. The email on Eli's computer had changed again. The words scrolled upward like a chat feed, letters typing themselves faster than I could read. I didn't send the last message. You did. You always do. It's how you remember. The typing stopped. Then another line appeared. Slower this time. Check your sent mail. I didn't want to, but my hands moved on their own. I went back to my laptop, opened my sent folder, and froze. Every message I had sent to Eli now had a reply. All of them said the same thing. Delivered. No body text. No sender address. Just that single word. And each reply was timestamped 2 minutes. Before my original messages, like they'd come before I sent them. The next thing I remember is the sound of my phone, vibrating on the counter. No caller ID, no number, just the word Eli. I didn't answer. But a second later, my inbox pinged again, a new draft, subject, pickup, and then, as I stared, the cursor began to type. I've been trying to tell you what really happened. It wasn't suicide. You hit me. I backed away from the laptop, shaking my head. No, that's not true. You were depressed. The cursor blinked once, then replied, that's what you told them. The room felt smaller, the shadows longer. The light from the laptop flickered, and I swear I could see movement in the reflection, something pacing behind me out of sync with my own steps. The next few seconds happened in a blur. The screen glitched. All the words blurred into unreadable lines, then cleared again, forming one final message. It's time to finish what you started. The computer shut off. The lights in the apartment went black, and from Eli's room, I heard the creak of the ceiling beam, then the sound of something tightening. I tried the door, but it wouldn't budge. My hand was slick with sweat. The metal knob was freezing cold, like it had been kept in a freezer. The creaking grew louder, rhythmic, back and forth. When I finally forced the door open, the room was empty except for the chair. Lying on its side and hanging above it was the faint outline of a man, made entirely of static light. His face was a smear of distortion, but the shape was unmistakable. Eli. He was facing the computer, where the screen had turned on again by itself. The cursor blinked in a new draft window. Send it. Then he turned toward me. You owe me the truth. I stumbled backward. What do you want? His head tilted. The sound of the rope creaked with the motion. The truth. The cursor typed again, faster this time, like his voice was echoing through the machine. Tell them what you did. Tell them about the fight. Tell them why you locked the door. No, I whispered. You don't understand. The walls began to pulse with light. Faint blue veins spreading across the paint like circuitry. The laptop's camera light blinked on, and for the first time, I saw my own face appear on Eli's screen. He spoke again. But this time it wasn't in words, it was inside my head. Images, sounds, me yelling, him shoving me, the crack of something breaking, not a rope, not a chair. A skull, I remembered now. The argument, the shove, the panic. The rope was an afterthought. A cover-up I never told anyone. I couldn't, but Eli had found a way to tell me through the drafts, through the glitch, through guilt. I fell to my knees, clutching my head. I'm sorry. The room went silent. The air shifted heavy and cold. On the computer, a single new line appeared, then send it. The cursor blinked, and before I could stop myself, I pressed enter. The message whooshed away, the light faded, and for the first time in years, Eli's room felt empty, truly empty. I thought it was over, until the police showed up 3 days later. Someone had forwarded an email confession to them, written from my account. No sender listed. No trace of who'd sent it. They called it anonymous evidence. I'm writing this now from a holding cell. They say they'll let me go if they can't verify the email's authenticity. But I know they won't have to, because last night, my prison laptop flickered awake at 2:10 a.m. A new draft appeared. Subject, I forgive you. And underneath, one final line. Now it's your turn to write back.